Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to Baymalton Angling Club. We're at Border Fisheries Complex today and we're fishing a lovely pool, a bit of open water called Stacey's Pool. It's named after one of the owner's families. It's been quite a interesting few years for this particular lake. I've not actually fished it for silverfish for about 3 or 4 years now, and before it was restocked with F1s, and also before the floating islands that were put in. So there's 4 floating islands that they put in here a couple of years ago, and obviously in the summer they've matured really well and make a nice feature. So today mainly looking at some of the silver fishing here really. Maggot attack is the plan, starting off on the bottom and you know, searching the depth essentially. I'm sure they will come up and down in the water as we go through the day, but it's a bit of a new for me today really in terms of fishing this particular way on this lake. Normally fish here in the summer, definitely for the F1s and shallow. They get a bit savage if you can get them feeding really well and competing, so a little bit of a change and it's nice. It's still really, really clear, so like with the other places on this complex, it's a peat salty bottom, which means the water is still very, very clear at this time of year. So even though the temperature's not too bad today, it's still quite clear. So I'm going to be starting off at 13 meters. It's nearly 6 foot deep just out there, so plenty of water to fish through the columns to search it out and see what happens. Okay, so the main rig today, so it's maggot rig, so you know, mainly on the bottom. We'll start up at the business end. So I've got duplicates basically. So this one is 8 to 10 slick and nut gilbert elastic again, as I've used in previous videos. 2 number 8 back shot, going down to a wire stem 0.4 gram float. So, you know, typical sort of slim style rugby ball float, and it's a 1.2 millimeter hollow bristle. Main line is 016, and then going down through the rig I've got a 4-inch hook length, essentially, with 2 number 10 droppers, and then a little bulk just to get it down there, but just so that it falls nicely through that last third in the water. Hook is nice and small, it's a size 18 Kamazan B911, so hopefully that will do the business on the deck, and we'll see what happens. If the fish come up in the water, obviously we'll move to a similar rig, but shallower.
That wasn't you on YouTube on the canal, was it?
That was. I'm recording right now.
Well, you can record me if you like.
You're right. How you doing? All right. I'll shake your hand if I can.
The rod licence and
yeah, of course.
Permitters lend the card out, but they don't lend the rod licence.
Yeah,
so
I've
we'd be track them that way, but
I've seen.
Saves us getting in any trouble if they come round and check the rod licences.
I appreciate what you're doing now. It looks after fish stocks, not just eating. Okay, nice to see Bayliss doing the job, which is fabulous. And okay, so next rig, through the water. So very, very similar, you know, essentially. This one is still the same 6 to 8 slick elastic, still an 016, 2 number 8 back shot. Same kind of float. It's still a, oh, this is 0.3, sorry. This is a 0.3, and it's a carbon stem, just so that it can follow that bait down through the water, make it nice and easy, okay? And then the shot, it's strung out across the entire rig essentially, down to again to a 4-inch hook length, which is 0.8, so really small today. Might go up to 0.10 if the F1 sort of move in and we have that kind of a day, and still again a Kamazan B911 barbless hook. And then the other rig I've got is exactly the same as what you've just seen. The only difference is it's a little bit lighter. Still the rig is still exactly the same float, same weight, the whole thing. The only difference is I've got a slightly softer elastic there, just in case we're into. I don't really know the size of the roach in here. You know, if they're ½ pound upwards, then brilliant. But if I started catching little bits all day, I just want something a little bit softer if we need it. So otherwise, exactly the same. So to start with, I'm just going to pot in a little pinch of maggots, just so we can get something to the bottom, but then I'll probably go to cattying them in straight after that. Literally a little pinch. There's probably about 10 maggots in there. having to break the pole down each time today because I've got bushes and stuff behind me, so lots of shipping practice. Just like I said in the video, in terms of pole technique, nice and smooth, using your legs as your third roller. And you pick your marker on the far bank. It's important on this lake that you don't pick the islands because they float, so you don't want to pick a spot and it be moving around. A little bit of height. I'm just going to tap those maggots in. You want a little bit of noise, but maybe not too much. I think with pellets at the moment, it might just be a bit too much. I have brought pellets as well, so we can switch onto that later in the day if we want to. Okay, so we're going to try a single red maggot to start with. I'm not going to do anything fancy, hooking it the traditional way this time. Just got to mind my keep nets, and luckily the people that run the club have been ever so kind and let us have keep nets in today. So I've got one for silvers and one for F1s, and hopefully we can show you that we've caught some fish at the end of the day. We'll see. So we're just going to lower this rig in nice. And then we'll see if anything's at home. I might need to knock my float up slightly actually, it's a little bit low down. So no indications at the moment. We have to sort of sit and wait. And still remember it's only March, and the fish here, with the water being so clear, they tend to come onto the feed a bit later than your average commercial that's got the clay bottoms, because there's more colour in the water. So as the water temperature starts to rise with that colour in the water, they tend to come on the feed a little bit more, and they will have a chew, but it's not quite the case here with it. That's a first bite. Not quite the case here with the water being the way it is. What's interesting now is that get those noxes going through the water, but then nothing. So already it's a case of, is it worth trying it falling through the water? Let's try feeding again. Yeah, so already thinking about just making that change. Okay, so let's try dripping it through the water, just see if it makes any difference. It's about set at nearly 4 foot, and we'll keep it moving through the water and see how it does. See if this makes any difference. Yeah, look at that straight away. Just had that feeling that it was sitting mid-depth. So we're just laying it in. Hold a tight line. As that maggot goes through, we're just keeping an eye on that float, reading it all the time as it's going through. See that line of them, when it disappears like that, nothing there. And there we go. Disgorge it. It shows that when they're disgorging like this, it just means that they're taking it quite shallow still. So we could actually shallow up. Okay, so as predicted, I think they'd start to come shallow and compete a little bit for these maggots going through the water. So we're just trickling in. You know, 6 to 8. Keep dropping the rig in. Just line it out to the side, you know, letting it fall through the water and hopefully catching some of these roach mid-depth. And fishing like this with roach, it tends to come in bursts. You get a run, then it gets a bit quiet, and it's fish now. And then you get another run. There's a few anglers about and, you know, fishing on the deck with pellets, and they'll pick those F1s up, which is great, you know, but it's not what we're here for today. We're here for the silver fish. I'm trying to do a silver feature, so now it'd be lovely if we get some of the F1s a bit later as they start to come up in the water. But certainly not my concern today, really. There's some lovely roach in here, you know, £1/2 pound, a little bit more, so hopefully I can tempt a few of those. I'm still always using the same point, same marker. Just holding a tight line to the float and reading the bites as it drops through the water. You're going to get lots of liners doing this, fishing for silvers. It's all part of the fun. And other times, like that, you get those bites. Not a big one, just a swinger. These fish are still cold, interestingly enough. If your maggot's ever so slightly smashed up, just make sure you always change it. When we're shipping out, like I said in the pole technique video, keep the end of your rig in the water, stop things from tangling up. Elbow on the end, out to your marker, and we're going to lie the rig in. I always let it fall through once just before we feed, just because it's only your hook bait now going through the water. It's always worth a little look, or two. We'll try twice today. The light on the water makes it quite difficult to see today. There we go. You can see when I'm hooking the fish, I'm just bringing it out to the side, just pulling it away from the shoal, because obviously we want to keep that shoal there. Like I said, there's a lot of angles on here today. In an ideal world, we want to be keeping the fish in front of us. And this is generally the stamp that we've been getting. Okay, which is lovely. And the same again, if it gets really good, I'll sort of feed at this point just before shipping out, but it's still early in the day, we've not been fishing more than half an hour. And we've had about 15 fish in between the cameras being on and that, which you'll get to see at the end because of the keep net, apart from the one that I missed the net with and dropped back in. That happens to everybody. See, that was without feeding this time, so I will feed again now when I've unhooked this before I ship back out. So still only 6 to 8 maggots, so we're not overdoing it, and actually we've got a slight ripple now just at the end where our swim is, so that should pay off as long as it doesn't get too crazy later on with the wind. It seems to be, it still seems fishing in roughly around about the right depth. We're probably a little bit deep, but like I said, I just want to search those depths as we go through, as the maggot drops through. And if it is that they start to drop off, you just up the feed ever so slightly, not the amount, just a little bit more frequently, and it will just draw them up. Making sure that maggot's not covering the hook point at all. Now looking round, there's only one guy who's not next to me, to my right, the one after. Yeah, that seems to be catching. I think he'd have one F1. But that's all I've seen come out so far. So you can see again there, look, we're just falling through and those fish drop down maybe a little bit. There's actually some big perch in here as well, and it's one of those, if you hook a baby roach, something might just take it on the way in. See, that's got to full depth now, and I am going to move it, but I'm going to feed first, because then it gives me that mark to aim to, and then let the maggot fall in with the ones that have gone through. There we go. See, it's a decent roach actually. You know, and again, this time of year, fish like this, it's great sport. That's what I mean. Some lovely, lovely fish. So same again, drop in on your marker, on your spot. Catapult, pinch your maggots. What I do is I just drop them with my fingers into the pouch like that. Oh, I missed a bite then. And I hold on to this section here, push it away from me, down the length of the pole. There it is, bang on the money. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, that didn't go in very straight. You want to try and straighten that rig out. There we go. Because of the shot being strung out on the line, it does make that little effect on the water, the sound. It does sound a bit like the maggots going in, so yeah, you can sometimes use that if you don't really want to feed too much. Oh, I bumped that one off. Let's check the hot bait. I mean, it's not particularly a turning the rig over kind of day. I don't want to make too much noise, but later on, if they really start to have it, it could be something to look at. But not to overdo it and spook the fish this time of year, really, just to keep them ticking away. And there's a lot of people on here today, but it's still a pleasure session, so. So a little ripple will help. And just give them a bit of confidence without the pole wafting about over their heads. There we go. Try and keep this one on the hook. It's like I said, you know, they seem to come in waves. With maggots as well, live ones especially, just making sure they don't cover the sharp tip, the hook, the tip of the hook, the point. Otherwise, you're not going to hook any of the fish properly. See, that's taking that one really shallow. I'm just wrestling trees behind me. Just about swing that one in. Yeah, a lovely fish to catch, you know, when it's still a bit cold. Especially this early on before anything else wants to feed. What that was then, it's the guy down there with bite alarms on. He mustn't be roach fishing. Like I said, there's some big carp in here, so you do get specimen anglers fishing this. Looking at me a bit funny when I'm sitting here with a pole. Bit of a better bite. Oh, he knows where the snags are, this one. There's not many fish coming out really. Again, the guys at Smith just had another roach, similar to what we're catching. It must have been half an hour since his last one, so That's the only reason I'd change anything really, if any other things started to feed, like, you know, significantly. I switched to pellet possibly, but there's no need for that at the moment. That one hooked itself. Is it still on? Yeah, it is still on. Only a little one. Yeah, it's taken that one quite shallow. They've come back up in the water again a little bit, but like I said, they are cold, so they are sitting a bit deeper. And it's interesting really, because the last video I shot for you, which was the F1, there was nobody else about, and you can concentrate a bit easier. I spent so much time today watching other people, so they've actually concentrating. So the guy with the optonics and the bite alarm, sorry, he's just had an F1 over to my left. You can probably see him in the background actually at the shot. You might not be able to. So it does mean that they're obviously a few of them having a bit of a feed, and again, we're not there for them. I think if I went onto the bottom over the line and fishing on shallow now, you might pick up an F1 or two, but like I said, not concerned with us today. We're talking about silverfish fishing today, and it's nice to come and do something a bit different. And we'll get some stuff done on the match lake as well, which quite a few of you have asked for, so we'll get a few sessions on there filmed, probably during Easter, so just as that weather starts to warm up a little bit. And obviously we've got some matches coming up as well, so we'll get us a live match. I'll probably get absolutely hammered, and we can see how we go. But it's about learning, isn't it? It's about learning from the people around you on the day. There's only a little one. Interestingly though, we're getting no liners. So it could well be that they've dropped down again in the water column. We could go searching for them on the other rigs if we need to. He says as he catches one. It is only a small fish though. just about. You can see a great example then of using your knees as an extra roller, and I was able to strike that bite whilst holding my catapult at the same time and feeding. So it's the kind of fish it can produce. It's just about rinse and repeat again now and keep that rhythm going. Keep that feed going in. There we go. Then we bring the fish away, feed, and we can ship back. And it just means they can keep the confidence feeding on the ones that are going through now without the pole above the head. Let's see if I can. I'm going to change the shot in on my rig a little bit. Getting loads of those little liners. What I'm going to do is going to move the bottom shot a bit closer. And I'm going to pull one more down from the bulk which is sat under the float. Just so we've got a little more contact to the hook. If that makes sense. And then yeah, and I'll take that, and then bang, we up the fish on the first go. And there wasn't, I mean, you want to have a nice slow fall of the maggot, but you also need enough weight on the line to balance the rig. And again, it didn't feel quite right. And again, look, we stamped the fish. the pole out of the way. Speed. And then we can shit back. I think I might get that one then. Burgled me. Yeah, it did. It's important when you do things like this, you should just keep feeding. Obviously I've just fed again, so just hold the fish in that area. It's been quite comfortable actually today fishing at 13 metres. I can go out to 17.5 if I need to, but certainly no need for that today. They've been fine at 13. I've not had to really chase them out at all. Even then, with having quite a bit of line between my float and my pole tip, you can kind of swing it out past the tip of the pole and keep the pole away a little bit. That's kind of done the job today really. Maggots have kept bringing them in. Again. Orange colour in it now. That one trickle through just in case. A couple of goes just before I feed it again. And another guy to my left has gone now as well. It'll be time for me to pack up soon too. And it's quite nice doing this today. Obviously, completely different way of fishing to the last session a week ago on the canal, on the Meridian Canal for the F1s. You know, where I barely fed any bait, tiniest little bits of micro pellets, and still ended up, you know, 55 odd pound of fish. And coming to something again completely different, open water, a lot of shallow fishing. Again. Too big to swing in that one. And before long it'll be time to pack away, get home and have some tea. And my fabulous family. Play with the kids. That light's starting to fade, but still picking up those guys. Okay, just a little check on our time, and I'm going to try for maybe one more fish. And we'll call it a day. I haven't said that and it's gone really quiet. Oh, I can actually see one of the resident ghost carps swimming around under the surface. They're obviously looking for the slightly warmer layers of water. Maggot's been baited. That wind again. Every time it turns up, it's been in a different direction today. There we go. I'll call that last one. Last one for the day. Okay, so quite an eventful day actually. It's gone exactly as I expected to. Like I've said throughout the filming of it, you know, a very, very inconsistent day, and part of the reason why I decided to fish for silvers today was because of that. You know, I knew the F1s. There's thousands of them in here, but I just didn't think they were going to feed, if at all, today. And if they did, it wasn't going to be for long. You know, again, the other guys that have fished have only caught a few. We've had them in a few little spells, and then it's gone dead. So the right decision, I think, in the long haul today. Like I said, it's still really, really cold. The weather, rather than warming us up throughout the day, it's made it colder, so that's just made it very difficult. But we've kept the fish coming. The shallow rig, you know, on the slightly lighter elastic is the one that's done the damage today. And you know, side hooking the maggot, doing exactly what we were planned, keeping the bait trickling through the water, and we've had a really good net of fish. Okay, this has been AS Fishing TV. It's been fantastic being on this journey. Stay safe. See you on the bank soon.